You're listening to Channel Kindness Radio.
Hello and welcome to Channel Kindness Radio. My name is Keely and my pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am a member of Born This Way Foundation's advisory board. I am so excited to be joined by fellow advisory board member, Mauricio. Mauricio, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Mauricio. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I'm a student. It is lovely to join you here today, Keely.
This episode of Channel Kindness Radio is a part of a series of interviews between members of Born This Way Foundation's advisory board. In our conversation today, we want to talk about our experiences seeking help for our mental health. Mauricio, let's start with you. When did you first start understanding that you needed to care for your mental health?
I believe it was some months before ending high school at 17, and I didn't know what anxiety really was. I thought it was just being a little nervous because I had to choose a career and move up to another city for college. But I realized that it was starting to affect my daily life in and out of school. I would be shaking without any reason. I would have stomach aches all the time. My hands will sweat. My heart will beat faster. So I told my mom that I wanted to go to see a doctor because I didn't want to feel that way anymore, especially not when I went to college. And I remember that I even saw a neurologist because of my hands shaking. They thought it had something to do with my nervous system. So I went from doctor to doctor, and mental health was never really discussed. And at the time, they gave me just some pills to calm myself when I needed. I moved out to college, and actually the whole year went pretty smoothly. But then at the end of the year, I realized that what I chose wasn't the right thing for me. And I decided to pursue a law degree instead of literature. And things started to get worse. I was really afraid that I wouldn't also like my new career. And I started having less and less sleep, to the point that the only way for me to sleep was to tire myself by crying. I was sleeping 2 hours a day. And this time I was very open about it to my friends that I live with. Even though talking helped, I knew I had to go to see a professional. So I visited this doctor, and I felt really safe with her, maybe because she was a stranger. I just opened up and burst into tears, and I could see she understood me right away, explaining what anxiety was and that I was probably having panic attacks during the night. She even recommended ways to calm myself before going to bed, like breathing exercises, writing down stuff. She gave me some pills so I could get some rest. And then she appointed me to a mental health professional so I could start taking care of my mental health. So, Keely, I know you also had your first revelation at 17. How did that come about for you?
Yeah, and thank you for sharing. It's so interesting to hear other people's stories. And so when I was 17, I started getting very physically unwell, and I was misdiagnosed, undiagnosed for a very long time, and was just wrapped up in trying to get the physical help that I needed. And I realized through that I was just getting a lot of mental health issues, and I was very scared to speak about it, especially to health professionals, because I was very scared that they would get confused, or they would not take me seriously, or they wouldn't take my physical symptoms seriously. So I actually retreated to social media, and I realized the power of connecting with people, and found confidence in actually asking for help in real life through social media. I went on to just create a simple Instagram page and just shared my experiences. And I just gained so much confidence from that, just sharing openly about it and just connecting with other people who had similar experiences. And I wasn't expecting such a positive and empathetic response, but it definitely made me see and realize the power in sharing our stories, and the power of talking about things, and the power of just connecting with others who may be able to empathize. It was also a great way to be able to share resources with other people, and also learn things that have helped them, and try it out for myself. And that was really the start of me kind of getting help for my mental health. We know that we need to take care of ourselves, but actually doing it are two very different things. What does it mean to you to live your life in a way that supports your own mental health and helps you break that stigma for other people?
Well, I think that it started with like changing careers was a big step for taking care of my mental health. Even though it got like really bad at the beginning, it made me seek help and understand more about mental health and how to stay to take care of it. And I know there's a difference between knowing that you need to take care of it and actually doing it. But it's something that you learn and you build these, let's say, healthier ways of coping, and you learn how sharing your experiences can help others. So when you come forward, which is a hard but brave thing to do, you learn about what's happening. As you say, you find resources that maybe at some point you could pass on to someone else. You find kindness, and there's people out there working hard to break the stigma around mental health. And sometimes there are professionals, sometimes it's your friends that are experiencing the same thing, or sometimes it's a community online, or could be completely strangers. I mean, I remember that I also went to an online community finding for help. At some time in high school, the only person I could talk about something that happened was with a stranger online on 7 cups of tea. And so right now I'm seeing that mental health is being discussed, that there are more and more resources every day, that there's community being built that aims to break the stigma like yours. I see trends online that start conversations around mental health. So I believe that sharing like we're doing here is also a way of supporting our mental health too. And well, also something that can help breaking the stigma and help others. So Keely, I believe you run your business, right?
Yes.
So I want to know about how that all works out for you.
Yeah. So I never finished high school. I didn't finish college just because of my health and various different things that happened in my life. But I was always very passionate about working and being able to support myself and also help others. And when I was applying for jobs or trying to get a job, I just realized that none of the environments that those jobs were in were right for me. And I also noticed a lot of problems around disability and accessibility within existing workplaces. So I started my business to create a better environment and a better work environment, and also to hopefully change the way the world views and defines disability, and also the way that mental health is talked about in the workspace. I'm also very passionate about learning and was always very creative. And I think running a business is such an amazing way to learn from other people. I was always very self-disciplined from dance classes, and that's definitely been a blessing and a curse for sure. But I love building a team and working with a team and learning how to be more empathetic and listening and learning from others. And I think, again, that just kind of reiterates how important it is that when you help others, it helps yourself. And again, how kindness is the foundation to all of that.
That's amazing, Keely. Like seriously, all the work you're doing is amazing, and I'm really thankful to hear about it.
Thank you, Mauricio. I'm wondering, I've never really had the experience of being in college or being in school, but for the small amount of time that I always found it kind of very difficult for people to have honest and open conversations. How do you find, while being a student, being able to talk to your peers about mental health?
Well, thank you for the question. I believe that I started to see community within my college, if that makes sense. And even though mental health was not really explicit, the work that the student does there are helping others through kindness. For example, they run pro bono offices with the student union, and we help communities and neighborhoods. We became part of it. So I believe that it's not really explicit, but you can actually find community there. And if there's community being built, you actually are like helping others and make it like safer for them, and kindness show up. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. I think community is so important. And I think we can build it wherever we are or whatever environment we're in. And it's so nice when people are reciprocal with their thoughts and their feelings, and just being able to speak to people that aren't necessarily your family or aren't necessarily a health professional, but they're just your peer is really powerful.
Yeah, and we have worked with like new classes of students. We organize congresses for them. We take them out of the city. We go to another cities and do stuff. So I think that uh, college became a safe place, at least for me, and that really made me want to stay there and find a passion on my career. I remember that at first I just like went there because I knew about it and I was like good at it. But then I met with a fellow student, and she told me that her degree was just a tool to help her to change the reality around her, and it will be okay if it helps, you know. So that's what I want to do. I want to build community, and I believe that my career helps doing that. So that's what made me want to stay. But I know that there are so many other ways to do it. I just found this one. I mean, you're doing such an amazing job, and you didn't need to go to college. So I believe that there are so many ways that we can help others that doesn't necessarily have to go to like a school or to learn something, but actually learn about people's problems. And when you share your experiences, you can also help.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it definitely just kind of reiterates that like everyone's experiences are valid, everyone's point of view is important, no matter if you've gone to college, no matter if you're working, no matter if you're unemployed, or no matter what you're doing, everyone has the right to feel what they feel and be able to connect with other people and talk about mental health. I think that's so important.
So, Keely, I would like to ask you, how's been the response from the community you're helping? How it's been the work on the field, and how does it feel doing what you do?
Thank you. Yeah, it's been amazing. I think because we work solely with the deaf and disabled communities, we've been, as deaf and disabled people, we've just been so oppressed for so long. So building a community of trust and a community that cares for each other and has the same feelings towards the way that society currently and previously have treated us is so powerful. I mean, there's so much power in that unity. There's so much power in that joint mission. And although everyone is so completely different, there's so many shared experiences within that. And most definitely with, when we speak out and actually being authentically disabled led, I think people really appreciate that and feel seen and feel heard. And there's so many opportunities for everyone too. I mean, we aim at the entertainment industry and we talk a lot about representation, but I think the power of, as I kind of mentioned earlier, the power of our stories are huge, and being able to affect and kind of have that audience of that many people and our talent that we represent be able to make such a big impact is huge. And as I say, like the opportunities are both in front and behind the camera, and everyone gets their chance to speak out about their lived experience, which I think has also previously, like mental health, been so stigmatized and people haven't necessarily talked about it before. So I feel like we're, really a part of this new kind of revolution in a way, but there has been so much amazing groundwork that's been done. And I think it's also so easy to kind of forget the people who started this movement years and years and years ago. But it's exciting to see. And again, going back to community, of what a community this has really built. So it's very enjoyable, very exciting and difficult at the same time, still having to deal with those barriers that society has kind of built for us. But yeah, it's amazing. Thank you for asking that question.
This has been such a wonderful conversation, and I'm so glad we got to share some of our stories and learn from each other. So, Keely, thank you so much for joining me today. And also thanks to all of our listeners for tuning in. For more stories about kindness and bravery, go to channelkindness.org and follow us on social media at Channel Kindness.
You're listening to Channel Kindness Radio.